Hey
Dude,
everybody. Yeah. Oh, there's a cranky.
yeah. Let's get the heck.
The
Hey, this is kind of cool. I hate to steal your thunder, but I'm okay.
no, you're good. What you got there?
That was it. I'm on my phone, and there's it. I have options for 3 different cameras, which I have never seen before. So that
Oh,
was kind of
okay.
crazy.
Well, see,
Kind of crazy.
I was warned early on to cover up the camera that's facing me. So
Oh, thanks
uh,
for that tidbit, Michi.
nothing you can't do with some painter's tape.
That's all right. I'll set it up in here. But you
Hey, I'm your
uh
host. I'm kind of, Cranky's got his cranky rants, and I got my Michi meltdowns, and I'm sure everybody, and hi everybody that's going to pop in or watch it later on. Cranky's here to make sure I mind my manners. Um, uh, I'm sure by now everybody's heard what happened here in Michigan today or this morning. And it's just, like I said in the thumbnail, what's happening to our country, where you can't even you can't even go to church without having to fear something happening. This guy decided to drive his pickup truck through the front door of the church, throw some Molotov cocktails around, and then start shooting anything that moved. There's 2 confirmed deceased at the moment, and that doesn't include him. A Michigan conservation officer who knew what he was doing, and one well-placed shot took out the bad guy. But the church is essentially burned to the ground. The Genesee County Sheriff said that they don't know if everybody got out of the church or not, so they're going to be going back in when it's safe to do so, and scouring for any victims that. So God only knows how many people didn't get out of there. But just everything's coming to a head now, and this is just my observation on some things. This is my opinion, not Cranky's opinion, not anybody else's opinion, just mine. We got to do something. And I know Cranky said in the past, and I echo what he said, we don't need politicians, we need statesmen.
Amen.
This bit now where the governor of Oregon is having a meltdown because our president's sending military in to clean up Portland. Well, we have police and we have sheriffs and we have the state police, but you tie their hands so they can't do their job, and you're letting crime run rampant. Where they actually post signs, and they did this in Seattle too, where they post signs outside the stores. Just remember, don't steal more than $1,000. If you steal less than $1,000 from these stores, we'll let you go. And another thing, and this goes to the great state of Oregon, and I'm not knocking anybody that lives in Oregon, because it's the politicians, not necessarily the people. I've got a very close friend that's going through a legal battle of sorts in Oregon, specifically, and I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, Klamath County, where her mother died, left a multi-million-dollar estate behind. And when her mom was still alive, these 2 people that were supposed to be caring for her property, because she had a horse ranch, a horse ranch rehab rescue for horses and that, they were supposed to be caring for the property while her mom was in Ohio with her. Well, mom died in Ohio. Well, the minute mom died, the credit card charges went through the roof. Stuff started disappearing. They had an estate sale. They did all this stuff. But the kicker was a forged will, which they've already determined is forged. Now, how do we do it in Oregon? We don't put the person in jail. We don't set a bond where they actually have to work it getting out. No, we book and release. we give this person who has right now is charged with 13 felonies. Oh, I'm sorry. It's up to 23 felonies now. We give her the privilege to leave the state to go to family functions and cheer competitions for her daughter. But everything's okay in the world. She's been nailed multiple times for retail fraud, shoplifting, and they like thousands of dollars. They book and release, book and release, book and release. And they wonder why the president wants to send people in to clean house. And in the same breath, they come back and talk about him weaponizing the government against the American people. Well, kind of double standard when it was okay when our last president did it and weaponized all the alphabet agencies against the American people. Or we go back to, just things that are going on and they wonder why the world's screwed up. And that's like, if you're a Christian, you're a racist. And I'm sure everybody has seen in one way or another, the video of the mayor of the city of Dearborn here in Michigan, basically telling an American-born Anglo-Catholic, we don't want you in our city. Get out of our city. We don't want you here. And then a video is released today of the Dearborn police chief bragging about how he's running all the American officers out of the department. Now, hey, I've got friends that are Middle Eastern that are cops, but if you're using this as a tool to get the people that built the city out of the city, you're part of the problem, not part of the solution. And I mean, even going back to, and this is something I just found out about, a young lady who I refer to her as my great niece. The school district that she goes to has tagged her a troublemaker because she said very openly when asked in the classroom that she doesn't want to be friends with somebody who identifies as a furry. Okay, I'm sorry. That's a mental issue that needs to be dealt with. But because she didn't want to be friends, she was sent to the principal's office and her mom had to come up to the school and deal with it. And then she has friends, and she's in the 8th grade now. She has friends that identify as being lesbians. How you can determine that at that age, I don't know, but okay. I'm not mad at you. Well, she was talking to her friends, and all these friends she's been friends with since like kindergarten. So they've been friends for a long time. Kid walks by, starts, talking inappropriately for his age about what they were and this, that, and the other thing. And she says to him, I'm not a lesbian. My friends are. I'm not. So this kid doubles back around and grabs her rear end. And I'm so proud of her. She laid him out. But she's the troublemaker.
Yeah.
Because our schools now are teaching our kids that they're not teaching our kids. They're telling our kids what to think and how to think. And I am so glad that with very little coaching from mom and dad, my son learned very early on to make up his own mind. I've mentioned it before. He came home one year, this is kindergarten. He comes home and he's got an Obama for president button on his shirt that his teacher put there. And even in kindergarten, they're telling the kids that, well, you tell your parents they have to vote for this person. If they don't, there's something wrong with them.
Yep.
And now you've got these kids that are now adults that, if you don't agree with something, you're the problem, not what you don't agree with. The whole Charlie Kirk thing, people tell me, oh, he spewed garbage. No, you're a Christian and you say he spewed garbage. He never once, if you tell the truth, nobody wants to hear the truth anymore.
Exactly.
They want to hear what they want to hear. People are losing their mind. People that are on, and there are people that legitimately need help. Okay, I understand. My mom was one of them when she was still alive. She ended up on disability, on Social Security disability. So she had certain things. That's fine. But it's gone from, and not saying that this is right either, from you have Medicaid, so they tell you what doctor you can go to. Okay. Now you can go to pretty much whatever doctor you want if they accept Medicaid, which they have to by law if they want to get what their money from the government. But I pay for my insurance and theirs. They get whatever they want. All their stuff is 100% covered. And I still got to pay 30% of mine. And there's things like prescription medication. I have to pay the first $6,000 out of pocket for medication for my prescriptions before the insurance will pick up anything. And the thing is, my employer owns the insurance company. Or now, but what they're really losing their minds over is, one thing that I can say our, and I say it sarcastically, lovely governor is doing, and the people in Lansing are doing, you have to put your picture on, they have to put your picture on your food stamp card now. So that's all the people that sell their food stamps for dope can't do it anymore.
Yeah,
But
that's a good idea.
Yeah, but that's wrong. Getting back to the Dearborn police chief, he and the mayor have pretty much, we're going to run everybody out of Dearborn. And then that fiasco where they were going to put a new police patch in service in Dearborn Heights, the next city over. But you get these youngsters that don't see what's happening. And I had a talk with one of them that I happen to work with. And I asked her, so do you want to have to walk 5 paces behind your significant other and, not be able to have your own identity and basically have all your freedoms taken away because you're a woman? You can't go to church on Sunday because you're a woman. You have no rights. You're an object, not a human being. And she finally started to catch on. But to me, this is all part of the problem. But that's this deal this morning at the church. That just took the cake. I mean, you can't. When we've come to a time where churches have to have armed security, and I mean, here back during the summer, earlier in the summer, at a church, one of the western suburbs, the guy drove up and if it wouldn't have been for the security person at the church, God knows how many people he would have killed.
Mm-hmm. But
it's just, and then all this other stuff combined, and it's kind of comical when you get in the comments that everything is our president's fault because people don't like being told no or being told this is how we're going back to law and order. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. They don't understand why these officers wear masks. Well, it's because somebody exposed all these guys that work undercover, where they live, where their kids go to school, what their wives' names are, what they all look like. And, they got to hide their identity. Or you have the DEA has a special enforcement team that goes in and shuts down meth labs. They wear Nomex hoods to protect them from flash fires that could happen in a meth lab. But we're making that illegal in California because we can't see your face. Well, okay. Well, now when the meth lab next door doesn't get shut down, well, take it up with your governor.
Yeah.
But it's just things are getting crazy. We gotta, and everything is racist or everything is fascist and all that. We need to, and I've said this a million times before, everybody needs to put down their red flags, blue flags, and whatever other color flags, put them down and raise up the American flag. Just be Americans for a while.
Yeah.
We need to go back to that, because I'll tell you, my grandfather, when he first came to this country and became a full-blown citizen of this country, was a registered Democrat until he did his research. And once he did his research, he never voted Democrat again. Because the people of this country don't want to believe that it was the Democratic Party that opposed slavery or opposed the abolishment of slavery.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying every person that's a Democrat's bad. I'm not saying that by any stretch of the imagination. As a matter of fact, a few years ago, I helped with a campaign for a guy that was running for sheriff in Wayne County. This Democratic candidate, but he was the best guy for the job. And especially compared to the idiot that's running the sheriff's department up there now. But up until a certain time, once you hit retirement, and I know I've got friends here that are from across the pond. Once you hit retirement age and you start collecting Social Security, up until a certain time, you paid no taxes on Social Security until Joe Biden got a hold of it and said, "Oh, let's tax our retirees. Let's tax our seniors." And seniors actually now pay more taxes than those of us that are working, which is just, there's no way to justify that. But we need to go back to, the red, white, and blue, the way it was intended to be. Yeah. And, yep. That's like this flag is offensive. No, it's not. No, if it's that offensive, bye.
Yeah, exactly. And Michi, you're right about the red flags and blue flags. It's not a matter so much of that, and this is just my take on it. It's a matter of evil throwing a fit now because they've had their way for so long and been unchecked. And and correct me if I'm wrong, but with the number. The increased number of church shootings, and even you could say even with Charlie Kirk, why was he killed? He was a man of faith, and he stood up.
Yeah,
this is an attack on Christians.
It is,
and the Judeo-Christian values. It's not Democrats and Republicans anymore. You're right. This is a good versus evil thing, and it's time we did something about it. And the government
people say that we're being racist about it, but we need to take our country back. And
if standing up for your country and your own people's values is racist, then so be it. It's also racist to come in here and demand that everybody change their ways.
Right. Well, I saw a T-shirt the other day. I've seen it online, but I actually saw somebody wearing one today. That I'm probably going to screw it up. It says, "Support the country you live in, or live in the country you support."
There you go. Ooh, I like that.
Like I said, you know what? People come here the right way, and it throws me the number of people that came to this country to get away from the oppression and the violence and everything else. But now we want Sharia law in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not. And I mean, I've heard some stories about stuff going on overseas now, where they did a list of how many. I'm probably going to screw the title up too, but how many mayors in the UK are Muslim?
Mm-hmm.
And
every major city,
and that they are required now to teach about Islam in the schools.
Did you take it out? Is it beeping?
And yeah, it's it's getting to the point, we've got to do something. And it gets irritating where everything gets blamed on our president because people don't like being told no. So, but no, that they were supposed to do an update at 5:00. I missed the video. They were supposed to do an update on that church shooting, but the bad guy is confirmed, eliminated. I told Cranky before we came on. I think I might have said it after we came on live. Well-placed shot from a Michigan conservation officer ended the fight. And Jack, that's part of the thing over here. They're all in an uproar because the president issued an executive order that you have to be able to read, write, and speak English to hold a commercial driver's license in the United States. And people are losing their minds over, well, how are we supposed to get our goods? Well, you've got hundreds of unemployed American truck drivers that can do it, or English speaking, reading, and writing truck drivers that can do it. But it's just, and like I said, I'm not picking on any particular nationality or whatever, because I've got friends across the board on all of it. But when I have, and everybody I work with, where I work, regardless of their job title or whatever, they're all my coworkers. I have coworkers that are Muslim that have taken a step back and went, what the bleep are they doing? Talking about the people that share their religion and their nationality in that. So, Cranky had to duck out. So, but yeah, I just, it's like I said, this is going to be a pretty quick one. It's only like 22, 23 minutes. Oh, wait a minute. Or did he accidentally duck out? Let's see. You back? Oh, nope. Okay. He entered the studio. He left the studio. He entered the studio. He left it. Okay. Yeah, just, the craziness going on in our, not just the United States, but our world in general. We got to start being good to each other. We like the old days. You look out for your neighbor. So look at, hold on, screens. There we go. Okay. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Look out for each other. Take care of each other. And yeah, there's going to be disagreements about stuff, but there was a day when we used to settle our disagreements with a couple knuckle sandwiches and a right hook out in the alley behind the house, and 5 minutes later you were friends again. And yep. Emerald, you can probably find some of the videos on YouTube where like major thoroughfares have been shut down in some of our communities around here, with everybody waving their flags, and even I've seen ISIS flags in the crowd. But we got to do better at looking out for each other and taking care of each other, because if we don't do it, nobody else is going to.
One thing everybody, I think, Michi ought to remember is that the players in the streets waving those flags are just useful idiots. That's part. I mean, they're not the problem. They're a symptom of the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is way above their pay grades.
Well,
and you've seen that out there. It's.
Well, I grew up 5 minutes from it, and it kind of, I have to laugh about it a little bit, because the people in East Dearborn, and there's, how do I describe this and actually have it make sense? There's a section of East Dearborn that has all the Middle Eastern shops and grocery markets, and there's a small mosque there and all that. And just to literally next to it, to the east of that mosque, is a huge cemetery. Well, on the other end of that cemetery is Detroit. And people are starting to complain about the call to prayer at that mosque. That mosque has been there longer than I've been alive, because I remember hearing it as a kid during the summer. And let me see here. Let's
keep you big, Michi, because I'm having some issues here.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought because it said you left.
No, I not intentionally.
Okay. All right. No problem. Here, let me do this. Let me get in here and do that. Oh, they upgraded. There we go. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. They're just, all of a sudden, they're just now realizing that this is happening. And they're actually taking them to court because the city ordinance says you can't make noise before like 8 a.m. and the call to prayer is at 5:30.
But they don't care, because as in the words of that fellow that was being interviewed by somebody on the street the other day, if it's not Sharia law, they don't care. It's not a legal law to them.
Right.
And so they're not going to comply.
Well, they're even doing that. I don't know if you saw the videos where the guys are walking into party stores down in Texas, threatening violence against the party store owners because they sell beer and pork.
Yeah.
But and to hit on what N. Marsh said, I was just talking to somebody about that the other day. Cranky, I don't know if you and I have ever talked about it. We've got two cities that are totally surrounded by Detroit. You have Highland Park and you have Hamtramck. Hamtramck actually was referred to as Little Poland, USA.
Mm-hmm.
And back in the day when Pope John Paul II came and did his American tour and he came to Detroit, he actually said Mass in Hamtramck. They've got a monument to it and all that. And they got a little rose garden set up that's got a statue of Pope John Paul and all that in it. And you go through there now, I think the only thing left in Hamtramck that's Polish is Polish Village, which is a Polish restaurant, Polania, which is another Polish restaurant. What the heck is the name? New Deluxe Bakery on Joseph Campo, and Schrodeck's Meat Market.
Yeah, that sounds like South O, and it's
that's all that's left.
Yeah, that's what much like South O was. There was a huge Polish contingency down there, and now they used to have a Spanish or a Polish fellowship hall. Like a lot of nationalities used to do that. There was a Czech hall and a Polish and all that sort of thing. Now they're, everything's in Spanish and such, which is whatever.
And then, he also says not many Catholics left. They St. Florian, and he'll know where I'm talking about. They have a strawberry festival every May, and it's kind of funny to watch the neighborhood people look at everybody sideways. Where'd all these people come from, and where are they going? Oh, well, we're going to a festival at the Catholic Church on the corner.
Yeah,
and you get the dirty looks, and you got to worry about whatever. And there was a big to do about their police chief in Hamtramck, who was a Muslim, left under questionable circumstances from the NYPD, and his past caught up to him. But the community was up in arms because how dare you? You're just firing him because of his religion. No, we're firing him because he's an idiot.
Yeah, yeah. Sort of the Jimmy Kimmel effect.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's something else. And he gets on there with the fake tears. Come on, I would never make a joke about a young man dying. Nice try, man. You're not going to get an Oscar. Give it up.
Yeah, here's a fact too that not too many people know, that globally, as of about, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, globally there have been 300 Catholic churches I don't know the statistic on Protestant, but over 300 now Catholic churches that have been either attacked or destroyed globally. So it's a good versus evil thing. And it's time the gloves came off. You know, there's
and I saw a video yesterday that was actually, it was a clip from a TV show. And first thing that caught me, and I actually had to slow down and stop for a second, it was John Larroquette playing a serious role. And I think of John Larroquette, the first thing I think of is Stripes and Night Court.
Yeah.
And he was playing a very serious role as a lawyer. And he starts going down the list. And like even within the religions, he goes right down every religion. And he gets to, and I was born and raised Presbyterian, but he gets to us, and it's the Presbyterians, the Methodists, and the Episcopalians are considered the leaders of the Antichrist because we allow women to be pastors. Well, and my thing is, and what it was it was a TV show where he was defending a woman that was suing the Catholic Church because she couldn't be a priest.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But they speaks volumes, I think, of protest. Well, yeah, protest in Dearborn. The part that scares me about that is the police chief and the mayor, because I think all the rules would be kicked to the curb, and they would find some BS to, justify lobbing gas and rubber bullets and God knows what else at the people peacefully protesting. Because, and Dearborn's always been kind of weird. Dearborn used to, and I mentioned this, and I want to say, I think I mentioned it in our other live. Dearborn used to have it written on the side of their police cars, "Keep Dearborn clean." Well, that was their code for keep anybody who isn't white and American, or keep only white Americans are allowed in Dearborn. And if you don't live in Dearborn, you're considered unclean. And they're going back to that now. Yeah.
Well, and unfortunately, the extremes on both sides are gonna be going full tilt. Pretty soon.
It's getting frustrating, and I think back to all the men and women who fought for, and in some cases gave their life for this country, for people to be free, including people to have the freedom to be a-holes when they want to be.
Yeah.
And it's a little disheartening, because I know right now this is not the country that my grandfather fought for 35 years.
Yeah. And my Colby's Grace out in Salt Lake City, Colby's girlfriend, she called me today because I'm going to have that eye surgery day after tomorrow. And she called me today saying, best wishes, blah, blah, blah. It's not about that. But she said, I got a surprise for you. And she said, I am 2 weeks away from completing my EMT certification. So I was just absolutely ecstatic about that. And I was really excited. And she said, well, I'm glad. And thank you for the support. Because my dad wasn't too happy about it initially, because and she said she didn't understand why. But Michi, we've had the conversation before. It's a dangerous job. In first responding anymore. We didn't used to have to wear body armor, Kevlar vests when I was doing it, and that's part of the standard uniform nowadays. And so that great news for me was tempered with a taste of what's really going on out there. So it's times are changing.
You're giving her the support she's not getting on the other side.
Well, I think he'll come around. It's an honorable profession, and it most certainly is. But
I know
I can
my,
understand. At the same time, I could understand,
yeah,
his reservations about the deal, because it is, it's
right.
a dangerous profession anymore.
And my
So,
son asked me, he asked me several times, Dad, why don't you want me to be a cop? Well, back when he asked me the first time, my first answer was, because I don't want you to grow up to be like me. Because, the things that we've seen, the things that we've had to do,
mhm.
and just the change in times. I mean, I was one of the last generations of cop to come out where kids waved at us with all five fingers.
Yeah.
Um, now, like when those three cops were killed in Pennsylvania last week, there were people
Mhm.
celebrating that.
Yeah, that's just,
And it's just, the minute you put that uniform on, you got a big old target on your back.
mhm.
And then when you have politicians that tie your hands as far as it comes to doing your job, it's you. I don't want him. I was a very, and I mean, I've reformed myself a little bit, but I was a lot more trusting of humanity before I became a cop.
Yeah.
And now, and even now, my son will look at me and say, you know, uh, Dad, what are you doing? What do you mean? What am I doing? He goes, dude, and every once in a while he'll slip up and go, dude, dude, you're you're scoping that car. You're scoping the people in it. It's like, well, I'm sitting next to him at a red light. I want to know what's coming if something's coming. Because Dad,
Yeah.
relax. It's a little old couple in a Mazda.
Mazda.
But but just, I mean, I don't want him. Obviously, situational awareness, but I don't want him walking in, more guarded than he needs to be.
Well,
And like, even
yeah. I
now,
mean, even
like the bit, if you and I were standing here talking to each other face to face, I know you're not going to hurt me. You're not a threat to me. Okay. Cause we're friends. We're not a threat to each other, but my hands are up in front of my face the whole time I'm talking.
yeah.
Because I'm standing this close to somebody that could potentially hit me, stab me, whatever. And I don't want him to have that mentality about everybody he encounters. But he's
Yeah.
pretty good at scoping out the troublemakers too. So,
Well, there
but
you go. And Michi, you I don't know if you've thought about it much, but God probably put you in that position because
yes,
you could do it.
yeah,
You know,
oh yeah.
not everybody can do that sort of thing.
But
And
on the flip side of that, though, I haven't told him this. I don't know if he's watching tonight or not, but I told him outright. I would tell him if he came up to me and said, "Dad, I applied. I'm starting a police academy the first of the year. Am I going to be happy about it? No, but I'm still going to support him if that's what he wants to do."
yeah, yeah,
But it's just the world we live in nowadays. Pardon my French, it'll scare the shit out of me. I'll be worse than his mom or any girlfriend or wife you ever have every time he goes to work.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll be trying to find a scanner so I can monitor when he's working.
Well, and as well as I do too. It's those. It's not the kind of job where you can let your guard down for
No,
even 1 second.
right,
You know, one traffic stop, one
right.
which
Well,
which
and
statistically
she's
is the
into
worst.
the whole health and fitness thing anyway, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Well, see, that'll help her if that's what she wants to do. Having that certification would help. Yeah, even if she doesn't work the road, because she could get that certification and go work in a hospital emergency room in a
Well,
lot
and
of
that's
states.
and that's yeah. She said she wanted to talk at length here. She's going to call me that
Yeah,
next week while I'm home here, and
right.
that's one
Well,
thing we will discuss because
while you're on house arrest,
it's yeah. It's still controlled panic, but it's a little bit more controlled environment. I mean,
right?
not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but still.
Yeah.
Uh, so. Well, Michi, I'm going to have to run here. My son's
Well,
here, so
yeah.
he came up
I'm gonna
from
wrap up
Missouri for a
too.
few days.
I did my venting. You said day after tomorrow, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Everybody that's here and anybody that watches this later on, keep cranking your thoughts and prayers on Tuesday. Getting the old getting the old headlights fixed. And
yeah. And the next time we're together, Michi, it'll be Michi Mish and old cranky Two Eyes.
I was say next time we're on here, you'll be able to see the moon without a telescope.
Exactly. I'm trying to get him to put the type of, if I can get like a $6 million man reticle in there, so I can get windage and yardage.
There you go. So every time you open your eyes, you hear or however that sound went.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well,
Get a red dot.
Everybody, thanks for stopping in. Let me run my mouth. And Cranky, thank you for popping in here to.
Thanks for having me.
Make sure I mind my manners.
You done good, Michi, and everybody just stay safe. That's all I can say.
We'll be thinking about you on Tuesday, and of course, if you need anything, you know where we're at.
I do.
And with that, we're gonna wrap it up. Keep stacking, keep hunting, and we'll see you soon. And Cranky,
stay safe, y'all. That's all.
All right, everybody. We'll see you soon. We're out.